Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Weekly Wave. We've got a guest with us today. He is the Executive Director of Accountability, and he's going to talk about our first slides, which have to do with accountability reporting. And that is Kurt Johnson. Kurt, I'm going to go ahead and let you get started.
Good morning. As Nancy said, my name is Kurt Johnson. I'm the Executive Director of Accountability. And I just wanted to go over a few reports. Well, a report that we currently have open, and then kind of maybe a 2-week look ahead or so. So right now we have the post-secondary opportunities window is open, and it's scheduled to close at the end of the month at 5 p.m. And this is going to be the only data review utilized for the post-secondary opportunities indicator for our report cards. And so what we're doing basically is advising you to go in and look at your 11th and 12th graders from school year 22 and see if there are any missing grades for these students where they would not be eligible for a post-secondary opportunity credit. And one thing to keep in mind is that each student is only eligible for 1 credit. So say they did not get 2 semester grades for an AP course, they dropped it in the middle of the year, but they have a college level course where they do have a semester grade, they would be eligible for credit just based off that 1 course that they did complete. If you do have any issues with 2022 coursework not displaying in the accountability reporting application, then we encourage you to reach out to our office as soon as possible. Nancy, you can go to the next slide. So a couple windows or a few windows that we have coming up. We don't have exact dates for these, but hopefully you or someone at your district is signed up for Gov Delivery, and we're going to announce these dates through our Gov Delivery just as soon as we have solid dates in mind. And so the first window is this should be chronic absentee medical exemption window, and that's going to be open throughout the school year. And we'll also provide a webinar when we kick that window off. That webinar actually will be in late October, so we'll probably open the window a little bit before we have that webinar. But again, this window is going to be open year-round, and then we'll be providing live webinars throughout the year where if you're having issues or something like that, you can just tune into one of our webinars, and one of our analysts will be on that call, and he'll be able to field your question, or we can get your contact information and follow up. The next window we have coming up is the CVR graduation enrollment rate, and that's calculation review, and that will be open 10 days, and you're going to be looking at 2021 graduates. And then around the same time, we're also going to open up the 2022 DVR, where you can actually go in, make changes, things like that, for your 2022 graduates. And so those 2 windows will be close to the same time. And again, these will be announced through our Gov Delivery. CVR is going to be open for 10 days. And then the student enrollment graduation will be open for 15 days. And if you have any questions, you're always welcome to email us. Our accountability email is right there. You're also welcome to email me. My name again is Kurt Johnson, kurt.johnson@sde.ok.gov. Thanks.
Thanks, Kurt. Does anybody have any questions about the information we just covered? I know Elaine has asked that, as far as she understands, SIS vendors can no longer send data for the 21-22 year, and that's correct. If the school needs to update grades or finalize grades for the post-secondary report for last year, how can they do that? And that would be through the window that's opening.
Correct. Yep. You can go in and review grades and create a DVR if you need to.
Okay. Thanks, Kurt. Anybody have any other questions about accountability reporting while Kurt's on the phone with us? Okay, we're going to move on to the next subject. Kurt, thank you for your time today. And if you stick around, there might be questions that pop up.
Okay, I'll stay around. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Okay, next thing I want to talk about is state testing number system. Please remember this is now in the single sign-on. It used to be in the WAVE, but it was moved last year into its own category in single sign-on. So if you need to access it to work your resolving your STNs, you'll need to access it there. We've also in our office, there were students out there that showed 100% option that weren't clearing automatically. We had them routed to our office and those have all been resolved. So you shouldn't be seeing any more of those. If you do, please let us know. And we need you to continue to resolve your existing items in your state testing number tool. Those will, if they're not resolved, they can affect your October 1st. They can affect your FQSR and other reports that are due currently. So please make sure you are resolving your own in that. Now there is an option in there to select to send it to OSDE if you have questions or are unsure about resolving one. Just click that contact OSDE and put a note in there. Provide your name and phone number or email. That way we know who we need to get back with if we have questions. Okay, anybody have questions about that? Megan, if you're seeing those 100% options, I would like you to send me some examples and we can see if we can get those worked out. Anybody else have questions about state testing number? All right, I'm going to move on to ownership. Ownership Wizard app is also located in the single sign-on. Please resolve your outstanding conflicts. If you don't, those kids will show up in find missing students on your reports, and it's just going to be a big hassle. Now, what you'll need to do in order to resolve those is contact the district that you're in a conflict with, and you two need to work out the dates when they started your school and when they need to end their school. You can share dates in Ownership Wizard. I mean, it's possible to, if like a child went from Oklahoma City to Norman or more, they could start in Oklahoma City one morning and end up in a classroom in Norman or more the same day. So keep in mind, if you share one date, that's fine. The only date you can't share that on is October. It's going to be October 3rd this year. So please start resolving those. Okay, students that are in the app will not show up on your state reports like your child count or consolidated report because it's going to show that error. So you need to be actively working those. Anybody have any question about ownership? Okay, I'm going to move to the next subject, which is data validation. Please check your district validation issues. If you need any help resolving these, you can reach out to our office and send us an email at studentdatainfo@sde.ok.gov. To find your validation issues, you'll go to the district tab in the WAVE, data validation wizard. And so it'll pop up a screen and show different categories. If you've got anything that isn't 0, you need to work those. If students have validation issues, they'll have difficulty showing up on your reports, and also might be an issue that they'd be in find missing students. So please go in and work those validation issues. Anybody have questions about data validation before I move on? Okay. EdPlan. So if you're having an issue with students appearing in your EdPlan report, we have actually found that if you've got a pending state testing number in the STN system, if you've got ownership issues, if you have data validation issues, These are reasons why that student may not be showing up in EdPlan. Those items have to be resolved for that student to move forward into the EdPlan system. Once you've cleared those, please give about 24 to 48 hours for them to transition into EdPlan. If they're still not showing up in EdPlan, it could be an issue that possibly there's multiple state testing numbers. You can either reach out to the special ed department or contact us at studentdatainfo@sde.ok.com, and we can see if there's an issue with a multiple STNs for a student. So please keep that in mind. I do have a question in regards to ownership that just popped up. They've been struggling with some smaller charter schools to respond to the ownership errors. What's the next step if we never get a response? Or does anyone have a good best practice? Best practice would be to send that information to your REO and let them know you're struggling with that. And that REO will work with their REO and it will get resolved. So Sarah, that's the best practice. Does anyone have any issues with it or any comments or questions about EdPlan?
Nancy?
Yes.
I wanted to let you know as well, sometimes if the kid has 2 STNs, that can also create an issue of why the kid's not going into EdPlan or why EdPlan's not picking them up.
Yes, and if that happens, just reach out to studentdatainfo@sde.ok.gov and we can look and search see if there's multiple state testing numbers for that student. So thank you, Sydney. If anybody else has, okay, verifying, does EdPlan push data into the wave? I don't know the answer to that, Jennifer. I know that, oh, so June responded to a different one. So I'm not sure if EdPlan pushes data into the wave. I can check on that and get back to you. I know that our information pushes into EdPlan, but I don't know if it does it the opposite way, but I can check for you. You're welcome. Okay. We have another question about EdPlan. They have several students that are inactive in EdPlan because they are no longer enrolled with us, but they keep coming over into our EdPlan every night. Any ideas? And June says,
I can tell you that if there's certain exit codes that if you use that EdPlan does not recognize, and if you use those exit codes, they won't exit from EdPlan. I know like 3505 is one. I'll look them up and put them in the chat real quick.
Thanks, Sydney. And Jennifer, EdPlan does not push into your SIS if that's what you were asking earlier. So thanks, June, for that. If there's no other questions, I am going to move on to class size. So class size verification is open for correction and it will close on December 17th. Ryan is actually conducting a weekly meeting to assist with the report, and the meetings are on Wednesdays. I've added the link below. Sydney's going to put that link in our chat as well, and it's every Wednesday at 10 o'clock. So he had the first meeting yesterday, and each meeting will have a little different context because as new functionality is introduced, because there's some new buttons that will be introduced, they will discuss that on that meeting. So if you're having issues with the class size verification app, be a great time to participate in these calls, and they do have sessions where you can ask questions and possibly get the answers to your issues that you're having. If you're experiencing application issues, you need to contact Ryan Piper. His email address is ryan.piper, and the Piper is Pieper at sde.ok.gov, or you can call him at 405-521-3335. He did recommend that, or mentioned that email is easier for him. That way he has a record of your questions. So if you would, if you are having those issues, just please reach out to Ryan. Also, if you're experiencing any type of data issues on this app, then you would need to contact us at studentdatainfo@sde.ok.gov. Okay, does anybody have any other questions about class size? Has the revised class size verification report guidance been posted in the help section of the report? He did not mention that yesterday. I think they're in the process of updating that. He was supposed to post the call that was yesterday in that area as well. So I will check with him and I will get back with you, Jennifer, on that. Okay, if there is no other questions about class size, I'm going to move on. And everyone, feel free to unmute yourself. And I'd like this to be as interactive as possible. So the guidance and webinar for Barbara, are you talking class size or class size? Class size, I'm not sure when the guidance will be out, but the webinars are Wednesday at 10 a.m. And Sydney has posted the Zoom link in the chat for everyone who wants to put that on their calendar. Okay, any more questions? Yeah, I see it. Any more questions about class size? Okay, I'm going to move then to October 1st. Oh, went too far. Okay, October 1st consolidated report. This report is currently open. It's going to close on the 17th. Since October 1st is on a Saturday, the capture date will be October 3rd. So that's going to be your snapshot of what students are enrolled at that point. Child count is included in this report and certified through the October Consolidated and should match your EdPlan data. But please understand, your special ed directors should not be the one confirming this report. They need to just verify the data. It's the superintendent's responsibility to certify this report. So please understand that. You also need to be sure that you're checking your find missing students in both sections. So there's a find missing students for the October 1st consolidated, and there's also a find missing students for the special ed students as well. So make sure both of those are being looked at. And Darla has a question. Christy, those time for those calls are Wednesday at 10 a.m. So Darla's questions is that I can't talk. That is where we have issues on the special ed missing students. Yes. Like if there's, I had a couple today that it was their basis of admission code. So if they're wrong, you'll need to correct that so they appear where they need to be.
On ours in Muskogee, we have like a student that in our SIS has a date of birth, and it's correct. I've matched it with the birth certificate. But when you click on the find missing SPED students, he's showing up on there as an error and he has the wrong date of birth listed on there. So where does that information pull from? We went to EdPlan. It was incorrect in our EdPlan. So they did a manual fix of it. We waited until this morning and he's still showing on this missing SPED students with the incorrect date of birth.
Okay, can you email us at student data info with that example, and we'll work with our developers to see what the issue is?
Yes, ma'am. I sent one this morning.
Okay, wonderful. Sounds good. Lori, also do the same thing. If you could just send us an email, we can see if it's an issue with the data updating. What basis of admission code do we use for a 3-year-old receiving services? If they're in your residence, like if they're a resident district and they're in your residence, it'll be an R. You start them out with PK3 for testing, but once you actually enroll them for receiving services, if they're a resident in your district, they're going to be a resident. You're welcome. Okay, any other questions about October 1st? Okay, we're going to move to FQSR. Okay, I just had a question pop in. We use the PREA ISP for a 3-year-old being tested. That is, I mean, that's also an option. There are a few options. Okay, I am going to move to the FQSR, which it is currently open and will close on November 30th. That's really based upon your reports are due no later than 10 calendar days after the end of your first 9 weeks or prior to your RAO visit. So that close date when your reports are due is based upon that. So keep that in mind. We need you to be in there correcting any calendar issues, look at your professional days and your parent-teacher conference days. We need you to be checking your membership and make sure that transportation is being reported and that you're sending student attendance summary, because that's what transportation is populated from. Also check your find missing students and make sure there are not issues there that need to be resolved. Mitzi or Lori, do either one of you have anything to add?
No, you did great.
Okay.
I don't have anything. The only thing that they need to do is just continue what they're doing. A lot of people are looking at it, but there's still, we sent out 2 weeks ago who wasn't reporting the student attendance summary, and we still have several who aren't, but we're not going to go back and send that out again. So just keep on working on it. Let us know if you need help.
All right, thank you both. Any questions about FQSR? Okay, I'm going to move on. Well, if a PK3, oh, that's what June's answering someone, so I'm going to keep going. Requesting state assistance. Whenever you contact our office via email or group team chats or personal email boxes, please provide your email, your name, your phone number on the request. Do not send a state testing number. I'm just wrong. Do not send the student's personal information. Provide us with a state testing number and the local ID only. We don't want to see their name, date of birth, all that information. We can access it through your local ID and the state testing numbers, so don't send any of that. So that, like I said, includes the group mailboxes, the team group chats, personal email boxes, and when you send an email to studentdatainfo@sde.ok.gov. So anybody have questions about that? Okay. Next thing I want to talk about is new wave accounts. So your superintendent will have to provide access to the wave first and foremost. And so then that employee that has been given the access will need to send an email to servicedesk@omes.ok.gov requesting for an affiliate's log on. This has been taking a little bit of time, so you might give it up to 72 hours for your access to show up. It's normally around 48, but I think they have a lot of requests at this point. So get those requests in early so you're not waiting or not in a situation where you can't access the wave to do your reports. Sydney, talk about issues in accessing the wave.
As far as,
The steps they need to take?
yeah, I mean, this is, I think a lot of people, when they don't access it, they forget how to do it, or they forget their password, and they forget about the affiliates and the Microsoft user. But just remember, we cannot reset your password. I don't care what OMES or what the SDE help desk says. The most we could do is provide you with these instructions. But we cannot reset passwords. And we cannot issue waived logins. They have to do that. Security provisioning does that. And it has to go through OMES. So we can help you with these instructions, but that's it.
So you're just going to want to go to the single sign-on page, click on Open the Wave, log in with your username, which is usually your SSO username at affiliates.ok.gov. When you get to a page asking for, it's a Microsoft page, you're going to use the same login information. When you get to the password, click on Forgot Password. The system will email you a temporary password and you'll have to change the password. If that doesn't work, then you're going to still need to reach out to service desk at omes.ok.gov. So,
and if you want to email us and ask for these instructions, we'll be happy to send them to you.
well, this presentation is also going to be posted on our website. So you can always access anything that's on here that you didn't get a chance to note down an email address or whatever. So, and also we post these recordings as well on the website. We have a channel on YouTube. You can access that once we get it posted, which it normally takes a day or so to get it up and available for you to review.
Nancy, this is Mitzi.
Yes,
Because I've had several calls regarding people having troubles with their affiliates. And when they send the service desk ticket to OMES, if they have to create one, they need to put assigned to Matthew Johnston in somewhere in that email, and I'll put it out here in the chat.
Okay.
That way they will direct it to him because he's the one that's taking care of all this.
That's
and
good.
He told me I could put this out there. So
okay, well, and I'll put that in our next slides too.
Okay.
Thank you for that, Mitzi.
You're welcome.
Okay, so if you have any more questions or you have want to look for some resources, you can email us directly at studentdatainfo@sde.ok.gov, or you can look at our information documents and guides on the SDE website, and that link or that web address is included for your information. So other than that, we can get back to questions. And I know there was some that weren't answered at the very top.
Nancy,
Yes, ma'am.
this is Jennifer with Noble Schools. I do have a quick question, and you can call me later if you need to, but I have a student that's going to be transferring out in February due to doing his mission trip. He is a senior and he's already met all of his credits. So I just want to make sure I transfer him out correctly. So if you want to call me or email me, or if it's easier, just talk later about it, we can do that. But I just want to make sure to do the correct exit codes and make it where he doesn't show as a dropout.
Okay, Jennifer, I'll call you after this call.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Another,
Nancy,
yes,
this is Terry at Choctaw.
yes, ma'am.
We're seeing several kiddos in the Find Missing Students on October 1 consolidated because of an ELL misalignment. And they are in the data validation wizard, but I've had to carry certain kids with just errors permanently. For instance, I'll give you an example. If they've answered English, English, English on all the home language survey questions, but a previous school had them as an EL student, we have to make them an EL student until they pass the WIDA or whatever.
That's correct.
So it doesn't like that they're English, English, English and no EL. It's always been an error. Lakeisha told me to ignore them because I can't change the parents' answers. And so we have to leave the parents' answers to the questions as English, but the other things, they may truly not be bilingual, but since a previous school marked them EL either erroneously or what have you, we have to keep it that way. Well, I've always just lived with the waive errors, but it's keeping them off the October 1 consolidated because it doesn't like that they're not bilingual.
Right.
Well, they're truly not bilingual. So do I, and they're still on my FQSR. They've never been missing off any of my other reports, but this year they're missing on October 1.
Okay, let me check with Thomas Kirk in our EL office and see what we can do to help with that. I'm not sure where to.
Yeah, because there needs to be several scenarios as possible. If they have English, 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 no one bilingual declined services because some previous school erroneously marked them as an EL student. Well, they don't want EL services because they don't know a single foreign language word in their entire vocabulary. So
Okay.
we have a lot of students that deny services because they're truly not an EL student. So we have, so we just carry them as waive errors, but now they're being
Sure.
omitted.
Yeah, if they're affecting your reports, that's an issue. So we'll have to come up with a solution for you on that, Terry.
Okay, thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome. And I'm sure other districts are having that same problem.
I
So,
would think so, yeah.
yeah, so I'll get with the EL department and see what would be a good solution. Okay, anybody else? Have I missed some questions or? Darla, thank you for providing that input.
Hi, this is Dusty over here at Newcastle Schools.
Yes, Dusty.
When I'm looking at my class size audit, I have no students listed.
Okay,
So,
yeah, that's not good.
well, that's posing me some problems.
Yes, I can imagine that. Let me get with you and we'll see what we can find, Dusty.
Okay.
Hey, I'm sorry, this is Kristen Arnold. I hate to interrupt. Are you Newcastle? Are you Wingate?
No, we're an Infinite Campus.
Okay, all right, just checking, because otherwise I might have had an answer, but now I
Oh,
don't.
well, okay, well then let's say the other one. And no, I'm kidding.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
I wondered, this is Lori with McAllister, with the special ed department, and we're not sure where the error, where the some students are caught up in. So I have some special ed kids that's transferred from another district to us. So they're on an open transfer and they are on the October 1 report, but they will not flow into EdPlan. And we have looked at the SIF agent, we've looked at the interfacing of EdPlan, and it says that no matching students exist in the Oklahoma Hartshorn system. And it's not just like Hartshorn schools. We have several incoming out of open transfers that's saying it doesn't match student existing in whatever school system. And they're not on our find missing student special ed tab in October 1.
Okay. What was your name again?
I'm Lori Graham with McAllister Public Schools.
Okay. Let me, I can get back with you today, Lori, and see what we can find a solution.
Okay.
Okay. Also, Renee, we are seeing that new site number and seeing students in it. I'm not sure why you're not seeing those, Renee.
Okay, I'll get with my super again and make sure. I still have the old site code on my single sign-on. I do not have the new site code.
Have you gone into the wave? Because that's where we're going in, and I see
Yes.
the new 515 in there, and it's got data in it.
I see 615.
That's very strange.
I know.
Have you cleared your cache?
No.
Try that just for the heck of it.
Okay, I will do that.
Thanks, Lori. Any other questions that I missed or that weren't answered? Okay, everyone, thank you so much for attending today. I really appreciate your questions and interactions, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and weekend. And I guess we will talk again next week. Thank you, everyone.
Nancy,
Yes, ma'am.
I think there's one more question.
Okay.
The PEBT, do you know when that training is going to be available?
No, I sure don't. We're waiting on that to come to us, and they have not provided that yet, a date.